Soul of a Nation, it's a great project. For
Yeah.
you, how were you approached to become involved in this, and what's special about it for you personally?
Well, for me, what I love about it, it is the best of ABC News, right? It's journalists at every lane of our organization who are excellent at their craft, who also happen to be people of color. And so now we're working on this project. As I see this in many ways as the TV news version of Black Panther. That this story is meant to be intentionally Black. Um, that's how it starts off. But then by the end, it becomes sort of coincidentally Black, right? That by telling this story about Black excellence, factual stories, not fictional stories like Black Panther, but real, true stories of people who have excelled. And we look also at struggle. But as you know, so often when major news organizations tell the story of Black America, it is through the lens of the pathology of the Black experience. And so while we don't shy away from the struggles, but we celebrate the excellence of it. And so I'm so honored, like, as I've said, I've been a professional journalist for 40 years, but I've been Black for 60. And so I think I know something about, as a professional journalist, about storytelling. And I think I know something about my particular experience as a Black man. As you know, we're not a monolith. I mean, there are a variety of experiences. And so that's what's so great about this project. We have people of color, different generations, who come together, who bring the best principles of journalism to tell this important story. And we have music. We have celebrities like John Legend is in the first episode. How cool is that?
Exciting. I saw that the performances, spoken word, so it's very unique in sort of the mix that it comes together. So, being that you've been in journalism for 40 years and you've worked on varied projects, what is something surprising that you learned while working on Soul of a Nation?
That the connective tissue of the Black experience, right? I mean, as a journalist, right, we're students of history. But for instance, in the first episode, the story I work on is about reparations, which has been discussed for a very long time in a nation's history with different levels of comfort. And now in this age of this racial reckoning, it's looked at anew. So we go to Evanston, Illinois, where they've decided they'll be the first city in the country to pay out reparations to some of its citizens. And what I love about the story is that because they were able to research it and dissect it, and so they make the case, I think, in a very intelligent way, that the city of Evanston, the city fathers of Evanston, from 1919 to 1969, specifically discriminated against Black people in regards to housing. And it's something that you can measure. It isn't, you don't have to, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. The numbers are the numbers. And so they're able to measure that slice of time and say, okay, this is how much Black wealth Black people lost. There's a number attached to that. And while we can't replace all of it, we can begin to pay some of it. And so as I see it, we allow the audience to look at reparations, not as a political weapon, but as restitution, right? If someone breaks into your house, you can never regain the loss of safety that was taken from you. But it's an acknowledgement, but there's a dollar attached to the pain and suffering. And so I like that about it. And also how all of us, that certainly being Black in America means a variety of things for different people. But there are some experiences that I think most of us will say, yeah, that happened to me. Like, for instance, my colleague Pierre Thomas interviews one of the Black police officers who participated in the who tried to protect the Capitol during the insurrection on January 6th. And so he tells a story about, he goes to work that day as a Capitol police officer who happens to be Black. And he's there to do his job. Big brother, 6'7". And then all hell breaks loose. And he and his colleagues, his fellow police officers, are trying to defend with their lives the Capitol building. And he describes in great detail these different moments where he and his colleagues are surrounded by the mob. And people start hurling the N-word. And it's like, in that space where he was there as a police officer, instantly race is introduced in an unkind way. And I think all of us have some experience through childhood, through school, through our professional lives, where our race was used as a weapon against us, right? And so there's that. And then there's just like things I didn't know, right? Like some futuristic things that are discussed. So I think it's as I described this show, in many ways, it's like kale wrapped in chocolate, right? I mean, there's real information that you will learn, but it's presented in a high quality way. And there's music in the end of each episode.
That's important because we like a little
Right?
entertainment with our education.
Right.
So I like that it starts not in Black History Month, but in the month following, and it will extend throughout March. So it doesn't feel as if it's a sort of here you go, following last year and George Floyd and those type of things. In reading that less than 9% of history topics cover Black history, how do you think that this can be used to help influence and give texture to students that are currently in school?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, clearly it's just a moment. But I think I'm hoping, I would imagine that schools will be able to use this as a teaching moment, right? Because again, it's highly produced, well-researched, authentic, accurate. We at Nightline, we did this thing called Turning Point, where we looked at issues related to not just Blacks, but Native Americans, Mexican Americans, different experiences. And so it was a real history lesson. So I've a friend of mine, one of my golf buddies, who's white, who's a school teacher, who's a high school history teacher. And he thought, so he's now using those pieces as a teaching tool in his class. So I would imagine the same kind of thing will occur for this. As one of my colleagues, the executive producer for this project, Eric Johnson, one of the big brains, big thinkers at ABC News, as he described it, in many ways, this series, first of its kind, right? This series is almost like a Black family reunion, where we're now inviting our white friends, our Asian friends, our Latino friends to please come up. Now, we're making the food, right? We're having our potato salad, our sweet potato pie, our ribs, and we're providing the music. So you don't need to bring anything. Just come as you are and experience this. And to your point, I think it was sort of intentional that it's outside of the month of February, Black History Month, because this is meant to make the point that, as opposed to being separate and different, that Black history is American history. It is a part of our rich history. Because America is a complicated place, right? We're a quilt made up of many fabrics, and so part of the great fabric of this great nation is the story of Black America, the soul of the nation. And I'm hoping, I will believe that maybe at some point, this effort that this time is intentionally Black, well, perhaps in the future, we will explore some other community of our nation where oftentimes their stories have been unreported, their history hasn't been more fully explored.
So in wrapping up, is this sort of, well, you just mentioned that you hope that it extends to other cultures and races within America, but for this specific project, is it just this limited run, or is it something that we could see continue to be a special over the years, or something that we come back to and visit?
Well, from your lips to God's ear. I mean, I think, as you well know, I mean, network TV time is precious. They don't give it away. I mean, you have to earn the right to stay. And so I'm hoping that if people respond to it, and not just Black folk, but all folk in our country who see it for what it is, that it's high quality, the high production standards, it's powerful storytelling, it's fair, it's accurate. I mean, we don't take sides. I mean, we apply journalistic standards to the effort. So I'm hoping, I'm an optimistic person by choice. I'm hoping that people will see it, love it, thirst for it, and then we'll be encouraged to do more of this in the months and years to come.